You're listening to Ants Talk.
My next guest was a principal dancer on the movies Moulin Rouge and Scooby-Doo. He also appeared in many shows such as Cats and Miss Saigon. He has danced with Kylie Minogue, Belinda Carlisle, and was chosen to join Nicole Kidman and Caroline O'Connor to launch Anna Wintour's Vogue magazine. Not only is he a fabulous person, but I'm also lucky to be able to call him a friend. Rodney James is known as the Mojo Man. His mission is to assist people to reconnect to their inner goddess and improve their lives and relationships. Think dance, exercise, mixed with burlesque. Please welcome to the show, Rodney. Hi, Rodney.
Hi, love. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you for asking, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to share.
It's fabulous, and we're at our good distance apart, so we won't catch anything from each other in these crazy times.
Exactly.
Social distancing 101.
Right.
So, Rodney, tell us about your early career. How did you get into dance?
How did I get into dance? Now, that's a good question. How long do we have? Look, I've always had dance in my blood. I was born to dance. I came out the womb, the body dancing. So, no, but pretty much it was always in me, and I would I started, I think, doing ballroom dance lessons very briefly, and then I would enter in these local talent competitions that were held at the shopping centres during the school holidays, and I would get up there on stage, and I would do very well with all of that. So that was just kept going on, and then I would had a great moment at high school once. If we get time to share that story at the end.
Of course we do.
But then,
tell us now.
I remember just in my first year at high school, I remember on the first day of school that we went into science, and I put my hand up and I said to the teacher, "Did we have sex education?" And and all the students instantly picked up on my high little voice and started calling me puffed up.
Oh.
Right. And then, to cut a long story short, there was a talent quest at school, and that was when breakdancing had first come in and was really big on the map, and or getting big. And my brother was also at the school. He was 2 years older, and he went around having a competition and betting that I was going to beat the breakdancer in the talent competition.
I love it.
And I remember I was doing flash dance, and I started off on a beam. You know what the girls use for gymnastics?
Yeah.
That beam. And I remember first when there's nothing and I'm doing a split down slowly, the beam. And and anyway, I won that competition, and from that day on, the kids were chasing me around the school calling me champion. And it was just amazing how I became myself all of a sudden, let them have it, let them see the real side of me, and they loved it.
That's brilliant. I absolutely love that. That's excellent. So going on from that, what are some more of your major moments that you've had?
Okay, so I started dancing at the age of 12, pretty much with my cousin, regular dance lessons. And then within 3 years, I was actually professional. I had my first job in a theatre restaurant. My dad was I was 15, and I was getting taken every night to the club and performing. And I look back at photos now, and I looked like a baby. I don't even know how they hired me.
Wow.
But I had mojo, right? And this is what I'm giving back. And then, so that instantly, I did that. I finished that after 6 months, and I went straight into Cats. And my career went I was never out of work. But I did Anything Goes after that. I did TV shows. I did Miss Saigon in London on the West End. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, West Side Story. And I'd done 10 musicals by the age of 25.
Wow.
And then, really. And then, but the highlights I would say was Kylie Minogue, doing Kylie Minogue at the Mushroom 25th celebration, where there were 70,000 in the audience. And I just remember I had some great places in that out of 20 male dancers.
That's incredible.
I got some great moments, and I remember tears coming out of my eyes with such joy and proudness. It was just phenomenal. That was wonderful. Moulin Rouge was a great, great thing, going around and opening the Cannes Film Festival.
I remember that period because, as you remember, you took me as the chaperone for your parents to the rap party, and we, you marched us through this you know, absolutely amazing $1 million party at Fox Studios in Sydney, where they decorated the whole place like Moulin Rouge, and we were sort of pulled through the crowd by you, and then all of a sudden I'm face to face with Nicole Kidman and you introducing me, and I almost wet myself, and it's the first time I've ever been starstruck, I must say. But then we also got the opportunity to see you perform that night.
That was wonderful, right? And I remember my father filming that. He filmed that whole performance, and we were the only ones that got footage of that. So I had that.
Cameras weren't really around back then.
I remember the camera. It was a handheld, and yeah, it was brilliant. And it's like how he got that in and was filming. It was just wonderful. What a great moment.
It was an amazing moment.
And to be able to share it with you, even better.
I know. It was one of the highlights of my life, I must say. What were some of the challenges that you faced as a dancer?
I don't look, you know, when I saw your list of questions, I looked at that one and I thought, you know what, I never had any challenges, Anthony. And fortunately, I never had to really work hard, but that came back and bit me later on in life, where I felt that came also natural and easy. I felt that I didn't know how to motivate. Because I didn't have to work hard. I didn't go through that, you know, that rough period.
Yeah.
And I started feeling quite insecure. But I looked back at like years, about probably 5 or 10 years before that, and I realized that I took my career for granted. And you know, I ended my career on a high, but at a young age, I could have still kept performing. I just wish I could have really been able to understand that working hard process, you know, and really putting that work into it. And but also I wouldn't change anything for the world either, you know. But yeah, no challenges really. I came out, I did 2 of the most demanding shows a dancer could do, which was Cats. And I also did David Attenborough's show, Dynamite, which was really demanding on the body. And I came out of both of those shows unscathed. So really fortunate. And
injury-free, which ends a lot of dancers' careers.
Totally. You know, dancers came out of Cats never dancing again, you know.
I mean, people don't realize how much work, you know, it has on the physical body. It's like doing, you know, the hardest style of exercise every day for months and months on end, especially with the shows.
I do have a challenge. I did have a challenge. It came with the singing, right? I remember when my dad was first told things were happening with me and I was really good, that I had to be able to sing. So he took me singing lessons, and the first singing teacher he took me to, right, was Ormond Douglas, who was a classical opera singing teacher, and he trained Karen Dunkerton, who was on
Young Talent Time. Yeah.
And I remember the song he gave me to sing was Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. And I did remember how opera people sounded, and I remember vividly the very first time I opened my mouth, like, don't cry for me, Argentina. Right? And I don't remember anything after that. All I remember then was being separated from my father and put into another room and hearing him tell my father that no way, you'll be wasting time and wasting your money.
At least he was honest.
You know what? But do you know, for every audition that I ever went for, I didn't think I could sing. So I, because I heard that really like left a bad print in my mind, and I got this insecurity and every audition. And even when I got into the shows, you know, by 18, I was in the biggest singing show at that time, Miss Saigon on the West End, being an acrobat dancer, but I was, right? So that was fun. That was challenging. That was awful to be in that situation in my body at that time.
I bet. So I know it is hilarious. I love that. So I know that you've moved from Australia to the USA. What's that been like?
It's been a big challenge because I spent a lot of money to get here. I got an O1 visa. I had been growing the program from 2010, and I was coming in and out. They finally got jack of it and refused my entry. So then I got the right visa and I went in there, but unfortunately I was running out of money within the first 8 weeks. And then I came to the point where I could organize a tour internationally. and just make good money. So I did that. And when I got into London, I didn't get let in. So they sent me back to America. And on my way back into America, they were asking me these questions and asked me what I was doing. And I told them what I was doing. And I didn't know that because this O1 visa only allowed me to dance. I came in as a dancer. And so I didn't know that I was only allowed to dance. So I told them that I did other things. And then from that day, they charged me for seeking unauthorized employment outside of my visa status. And they were going to send me home there and then. So that was in October of 2014. And I'm finally going to court in June to clear that right up. And then I'll have a green card. Long story. But I've been married and I'm lucky that I've got a great supportive husband supporting me. So yeah, it's been challenging that way, but I've still been able to, share and work on what I've been doing.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, it's been good.
This is Ants Talk.
So you released your burlesque beat that also featured on the Today Show. Tell us more about that.
The burlesque beat, oh, that was funny. We had this Australian distributor take it on and give us a good amount of money for it, which paid for the costs of the production. And he also invested $17,500 on a marketing campaign. So that allowed us to get some interviews and stuff like that and a bit out there. Funny thing was, though, we weren't able to mention the DVD, which made no sense. But anyway, the Today Show got a hold of it. Well, they were introduced to it, and they were going to come out and do a story on it. And they really had seen the DVD and thought that they were going to come out and just take the piss, just like take the mickey of it and just like have, I don't know what they were thinking. But when they came out, they could not leave. They were there for like 10 hours. And we had the room full of women from the age of 16 or 17 was the youngest, and the oldest was 76.
Wow.
And there were like 30 or 40 ladies just sitting there during this whole story, and they loved it.
And say something after that.
Okay. So, yeah, the youngest was like 16, and then the oldest age was like 76. So
that's incredible. And I know you can still find that on YouTube too.
You can also download it, and I can give you the links of that when you want.
Yeah, we'll do that all at the end. I'll grab all of those off you because I'm sure.
Yeah, there's 2 DVDs. There's a new one as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Now, you run classes for your Mojo technique around California and San Francisco. Tell us about your motivation around this style.
Okay, so pretty much when I was doing the empowering with all the women, there were high heel shoes. There was like G-strings. There was a lot of burlesque stuff. And, I never had a problem getting it out there, but there was always stigma. And I think I was getting tired of just seeing that we weren't getting anywhere near it, or to accepting it, and more on the women not accepting it. And that really frustrated me. But so what happened was I was 4.5 years ago, I came across this class called anti-gravity, and it was done with a fabric like a hammock that they use in silks, aerial silks, but it's like aerial silks upside down, and it's like a hammock. And it was doing yoga exercises or inspired exercises to it. And after the class, I thought, wow, this is brilliant. This is like really genius. Because what I did was I instantly thought that the fabric was luxurious. My method and technique was very luxurious because it's all from within and soulful. And it would be just a nice way to get people aware of the mojo, right? And then that led to dance, and getting people to do stuff, and then all of a sudden dancing, and mixing the dance into it, and just so I just felt it was another avenue and another area where I could go. But at the end of the day, I'm still doing the same thing as what I was doing with the
burlesque.
The burlesque, because it's mojo.
Because I
Doesn't
remember
matter what you
too,
do.
I remember you telling me how while you were doing the burlesque bit, you'd get a lot of the women's husbands coming to you and thanking you for sort of reawakening their wives.
Oh, God, great. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm so glad. Thank you. What happened was when I first started doing that, right, I opened up the studio and I literally thought that I was going to be getting, because my target market was insecure women. They're probably going to be overweight, most of them, not fit, very, and told they're ugly by their husbands all their lives, right? And thought that I would have men knocking on my door saying, my wife now has left me because of you, But you know what, Anthony? It was the complete opposite. What men did, like women would just come on their own, and then all of a sudden their husbands or their partners were dropping them off, and then all of a sudden they're getting eye contact with me as I see them come in, the wives, and I'd get a smile. Next thing you know, they're at the door. I'm walking them to the door. Eventually, until they could get to me and thank me. And I remember being in Singapore one day, and this guy said to me, "Thank you so much, Rodney, for bringing her back."
Yeah.
And that just really made sense with exactly what I'm doing and what I wanted.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, what a recommendation and what a beautiful compliment to get.
Yeah, I've got lots of interviews on YouTube of all countries and cities, and asking them questions, and it's great. So we can talk about that.
So why do you think, should I say, is movement so good for us?
Movement. Well, my style of movement, which is intentional movement, which is integrative, the inner body, and I call it almost like an integrative medicine, right? So working from the soul is going to bring on movement that just feels good, right? So that's the difference with me and my Mojo method, as opposed to other styles and other fitness genres and everything out there that comes from a more perception mind base.
Yeah.
So you can do movement that you're being taught from the mind. You've really brought the mind into it. It's still, you get results, but then that goes to the core. And then but when you work from the soul and the mind method, it just brings on movement in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Which is another thing I say is this love. It's also called body awareness. I allow people to go so slow that they're able to feel the movement right from the base of the center access point of the body, which is your pelvis. Right? Everyone thinks the soul, but no, it's your pelvis. So the movement that I do is just brilliant. So just the benefits of it, just like vulnerability, people being able to first allow themselves to get vulnerable, but then also understand that the power that comes from with being vulnerable, and it becomes like this acting game within, and you're taking little risks and then you're feeling the benefits, so, but movement in general is wonderful, right? Wherever it's coming from.
I think a good thing too is, especially at the moment with this coronavirus stuff and people self-isolating and stuff like that, people are actually really enjoying slowing down. Do you know what I mean? Hello. And Anthony, people run away from the word slowing or slowing down or soul. But I tell you what we can learn when we're able to slow something down to the slowest point we possibly can, whether it's a transition or an exercise or breaking down a thought, we're able to get in, do so much without us even knowing. That could be healing, that could be strengthening, that could be fulfilling, it could be therapeutic, it could be anything, joyous, it could be emotional, and it just wakes it up. And I just got passionate into that, sorry. We love passion. Now, do you think that these classes are just for women?
No, men too. So my movement has this sense of power, but it's also got this very sensual side to it, which is like almost, you can take it any way. feminine. So it's this soft and it's for both, you know. I like to bring men in and get them to I do a version for men. I will be honest. I believe that women work from the hips and men work from their backs, their upper body, right? And that's how they protect themselves. That's how they instantly, right? So when I'm breaking movement down from the pelvis with men, they find it a little bit difficult. So I do different versions just so that they can step into it with more comfort. But when they do that with intention, they find their lovely feminine side. It's in us all anyway. And vice versa. Getting the women, they struggle with me trying to incorporate their backs or bring recognition into their backs. And I think that's because of the masculine word, right? Yeah. Or the stigma attached to that. It's interesting. But, you know, look, it's for both people. Definitely, definitely.
Tune in each week for Ants Talk to learn about real-life stories, celebrities, and everything in between.
I've got a question for you. If you could choose anybody in the world, who would you like to see in your class?
Okay, it would be Oprah Winfrey.
My queen.
Madonna.
My young Madonna. Queen.
And Beyonce.
Oh, fabulous. What a trio.
Right, bit of experience with all of them.
Yeah. That would
all
be
powerful.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it would be great trying to get their vulnerable, their flirtatious, their playful.
I'm sure Oprah Stedman would love it.
You know what? She'd be so good at it. Yeah,
she would be.
They're my age. They're my baby boomers. They're the ones that shine. Every time a baby boomer comes into one of my classes, it's so joyous teaching them because they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What message would you like people to know about your work?
I'd like people to know about my work that if they were to come and have a look at it, they walk away smiling because they see the humility, and that they see also vulnerabilities, and they see powerful, and just this sense of acceptance.
And joy, I would put in there.
Total joy. That was coming. So all those words.
I stole the word out of your mouth.
You know, and you can. That's what's great about the mojo. You know, it's an energy, right? It's an energy. The body's just the body. The mojo's an energy, and it attracts people. And yeah, so the when you can work like that and have that, or be aware of your magic or that side of you, it just opens up everything.
Yeah, everything. Definitely.
It's great to be around.
Where do you see yourself in the future?
Where I see myself in the future is continuing on this spiritual journey that I'm on, which is really, really, really enjoyable. And hopefully coming across the success of not reinventing, but replacing the good old, remember Richard Simmons?
I do indeed.
Fitness guru that used to have women and men of all ages all dancing around in their lycras and their shorts. And I can see myself when I turn 50, which is going to be in a year and a half. I've got a feeling that you're going to see it all again with a bit of a different twist.
Well, funny enough, you both have
Rodney James, Mojo Man.
You definitely have similar energies.
Well, yeah, we both are very emotional
and passionate about what you do.
And passionate, right?
Yeah.
So, and we just so I'd love to be doing that.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
But everything's sharing and continuing what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Rodney, tell all the listeners, where can they find more about you?
You can go on Instagram, Mojo Man Rodney, and you can also use the account The Mojo Technique, which is THEMOJO, the word technique.
Gorgeous.
You can go to YouTube and type in Rodney James Sexy, Rodney James Chair, and you'll get our Rodney James interviews, and you can get a list of videos. You can go to my website, which is www.themojotechnique.com, and you can also purchase and download my DVDs at www.themojoman, THEMOJOMAN.V for Victor, H for Harry, X for xylophone.tv.
Fabulous. So get on to that, everybody, because you will be entertained, trust me. I've seen them all. I love it all. Rodney, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I really appreciate it, my dear, dear friend.
I'm willing to give you a couple of DVDs if you want to give them away.
That would be a great idea, yeah.
Downloads, you just got to let me know when you, so anytime you want to give a download away, just let me know and I'll send you the code.
That could maybe be a prize for the listeners. I love it. All right, darling, thank you so much for your time. I love you too, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, darling. You will. I'll be back over there very soon.
All right.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right. We'll see you in Australia very soon. No worries.
I love you. Bye-bye, darling.
Love you too. Bye.
Ants Talk. It's like Oprah, but not.